Well, they sometimes say the travelling fans make the most noise. That's certainly the case here right now at Bethpage Black. Something to behold. Rich, when you look at what we've, well, enjoyed across our screens today, whichever team you might root for, the quality of the golf's been off the charts, but what sort of level of historic are we talking with? What is at stake for this European 12-man team?
You know, it's crazy. I was just asking our statistician how many birdies were made today. 60 birdies and three, I think it was one eagle and 60 birdies, or 61 birdies maybe at the very end. The play was phenomenal between both sides. But every time the Americans kind of put any heat on the Europeans always had an answer for it, every single time, and they just never let the Americans breathe. It was an uphill battle, and the Americans were trying to push a boulder up a hill. It just never happened.
Every session, though, Andrew, every session they've been victorious. What has been the difference between the two teams so far?
Yeah, it's just a ridiculous dominance. Look, I think part of it is preparation. It's not a nice thing to say necessarily, given the fact that he'll be bitterly disappointed. I think Captain Bradley has been out-captained. I think a lot of a lack of thought has gone into the pairings. They don't seem to have come up with the right pairings, and the players have been, from an American standpoint, have been totally outgunned out on the golf course.
We've talked plenty, Rich, about the decisions of Keegan Bradley, some of the highly surprising partnerships out there, all the stuff that came in before, and of course there'll be plenty of time to look at that in the aftermath of what ensues tomorrow. But let's turn to Luke Donald. You think about the quality his team have delivered. Has he been every bit as good as that as a captain?
Well, of course. I think that whatever he learned in Rome, he's certainly carrying over to the U.S., and that's one of the big things that I've been speaking about. In America, we've got to take the same captain at home as we do away, because you're going to learn a ton about your team, about yourself, and how to manage this team so much better. Keegan Bradley had a tough year going into it because he almost played his way onto the team. He could have picked himself easily. He took the high road, took the captaincy. I don't know if he could have helped out what's going on out here. It literally is, at every single turn, it's a beatdown. And there's not one man could stop it.
No, 11.5, 4.5. It is the biggest ever lead going into the Sunday singles. 2004 it was 11.5. Just 3 points required, Andrew. We know they'll have a job to do tomorrow, but what do you think is going to be said in that team room? Of course, to win the Ryder Cup away from home, that was the quest arriving here this week. Feels like that might have moved a little bit now, the aspiration. What is going to be said there? What will they be driving for tomorrow?
Look, very much so. And make no bones about it. You know, there's a lot of healthy sort of enmity between both tours, you know, when it comes to the team game and stuff like that. You know, we all have terrific pride from each tour on both sides of the Atlantic. And, you know, you want to go out there. They will be told to go out there tomorrow, and they'll be told to set records. They want to set records. They'll have their own personal records to try to set, to try to break. I think the previous record for Europe is, I think, 18.5, 6.5, or something like that. You know, they're going to beat that.
8.5, 9.5, the best ever win on the road and at home as well. 8.5, 9.5, Ian Woosnam's team at the K Club 2006, 2004. Of course, David Howell part of that one. 8.5, 9.5 at Oakland Hills. That was the best that they've ever had. Who has been the sort of John Rahm there? He's been so strong. He felt like he got pickpocketed there at the end with Sepp Straka today. If you are going to try and pick out individuals that have made this happen, that they've lent into, for you, who has really stood out? Or is this the collective effort that has been the difference?
Yeah, look, it is a collective effort, but Fleetwood has been superb. Rose, you know, what Rose has done has been incredible. You know, 45 years young, I'm going to say, because he acted like a youngster out there, and everything that was thrown at him and what he dealt with. You know, he has stood incredibly tall over these last 2 days. He's been superb.
Just the dovetailing as well, like, we know the value of McIlroy as an individual, but Shane, as Rory said today himself, Shane carried him out there. He was the strong man at times for that partnership today.
Well, absolutely, because again, he kind of a bouncer as well, because they were literally getting abused, you know, verbally out there, and they actually had increased security around that match, and there's warning signs saying, listen, we catch anybody, we're going to go ahead and escort you off the property. I heard more than one occasion that happened, but yeah, I think that just having a rocket, somebody you've been around around for a very long time in your life. You played a lot of golf with. He came through when he absolutely needed to, made the birdie on 16. He made the birdie on, 15, then 17. Shane was there when he needed it, when he needed to be, and Rory took care of the stuff that Shane couldn't. But listen, it was a thing of beauty. It has been all week long.
Look, let's just take a second to step away from the action on the golf course at the moment. And in a moment, we'll look at what happened on that 15th hole as well with, highly emotive circumstances around that Rose group with Fleetwood, Bryson DeChambeau, Scotty Scheffler, just trying to stay out the way of it all, and the caddies. But something also happened today on the first tee. It's been in the news. You might have seen it across your social media platforms. The MC, the hype person, whatever you want to call them, that gets the crowd going, dropped an expletive about Rory McIlroy in front of all of these fans. Now, a lot of them are grown-ups, but there's also children in there. And I suppose, without making too big a deal out of all of this, there is a responsibility of the greatest tournament, and I'm not talking about major championships, I'm talking about one that reaches the masses that enjoy sport on TV. This tournament does that, the Ryder Cup, because it thrills and entertains in equal measure. What's the duty of care, though, that's responsible from these people who are around this, that are leading by example to set a tone for the respect that should be around our sport?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they're adults. They've got to behave a little bit better than that. It was tasteless, classless. I gather it's that person's kind of modus operandi and how they go about their business. But they just forgot their place at that time. But there's no condoning that type of vernacular. And you've got to be cognizant of the fact that you can use that kind of language, and it only feeds into other people that are out there in the golf course. I think we just got to make sure we temper that.
Well, it's from the wrong person, too. The MC out there was a female comedian who's had a lot of success as of late. Apparently her husband's a massive golfer, so they've been in social media quite a bit. And she's not a golfer. And so you put an MC like that who hasn't been around the game, who doesn't really kind of know the nuances of it, and to go out there and say that, wow, the PGA of America, whoever picked her to do that, missed the mark by a wide margin. There's so many other things that you could have done, so many other people you could have brought to the table, and yet they chose this direction to go to because of one person's involved in the game. That's unacceptable. I think that Andrew's right with everything he says. We need to do better as a society. We don't need to throw this stuff out there, what stuff that Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry heard today. Come on. They're golfers that live in America.
Yeah.
Just because they have different colors on, they are golfers that live in America, and yet we're abusing them that poorly in the name of winning a competition.
Well, look, I'm sure if you watch a lot on Sky Sports Golf, we have to apologise a lot for expletives that are used on television. There's a duty of care to look after the viewer that is watching. Who knows who is watching? Some people might enjoy the excitement and it boil over the emotion, but there's a duty of care for everybody that watches the coverage. And so we have to apologise a lot. The emotions run. We know that happens in this tournament. But it felt like it maybe went beyond. Rory put the question back, and he was asked today, great question, did it go too far? Did it cross the line? He said, that's up for you to decide at home what you think. What do you guys think, though? Did it cross the line today out there?
Well, look, I mean, I know what it's like. I've walked the fairways in Ryder Cups doing on course, played and won, and you know, you can tolerate a certain amount. When things get a little bit personal, it starts to get a little bit crazy. Sometimes it goes a little bit deeper than that, you know, when your loved ones are involved. And at that stage, things do get to cross the line. And that's when you hope that, you know, the security and the protocols that they put in place deal with it effectively.
You know, when you look at tomorrow, Rich, we want the excitement. When it all boils over, it's good. We're going to look at it in a minute, the 15th green. I kind of liked it. You know, our sport doesn't see that very often. It's all very well to do, and we enjoy watching great golf. But when it's emotional, when it means everything to a sports person, that's when it really resonates with us, doesn't it? But is there an element tomorrow that the game also has to put its best foot forward in setting the tone for what is to come? Does it have to protect what this looks like going forward?
Yes. In a simple answer, absolutely it does. Now, I don't mind the players getting fired up and whatnot and trying to get the crowds involved. Yes, that sometimes gets on other players' nerves. I get that, but that just comes with the territory, going out there playing on home and away soil. That's just part of the gig. The stuff that's yelled from the cheap seats that, you know, you can't pinpoint who said that, and that's where all the vile comments come in from. Listen, we all knew what to expect when we came out to, I'm not even going to blame it on New York or Long Island. This is becoming a habit. This is something that's coming, you know, and it's not just in America. It happens overseas as well, not nearly as much by a long shot, but it's coming more and more, and not just the Ryder Cup. It's coming in majors, it's coming in regular tournaments. This is just something that we're getting used to or having to get accustomed to, and we should not in this game. And the PGA of America needs to do a better job of cleaning all this up.
Well, look, it's because the Ryder Cup transcends, you know, all sports. It goes beyond golf. You know, you're incorporating fans that are incredibly tribal from other sports. That's how they conduct themselves in other arenas and stadiums and things. Again, I'm not condoning it, but it bleeds into the game here, and it's got to the stage that it has at the minute. It's not how the game was played or how the fans behaved historically, but it started to feed into it. It's just something I think that obviously does need to keep in check, but at the same time, we've got to embrace the fact that we are going to the world, and this game is going to the world.
Yeah, how do you stop all of what's going on, though, when you have this kind of venue and you're promoting, you know, loud music, you've got all this, you got the booze being sold right there front and center. How do you ever slow it down?
It's a tough blend to get right, because the spectacle itself of the Ryder Cup,
you have to trust adults to do the right thing, and right now we're failing.